Hi everyone, my name's Chris. I'm one of the physios at Bluff Physio. Here to do just a pretty quick talk about basketball lockdown and how we're seeing an increase in injuries coming through to the clinic now that sports are up and running, in particular basketball. I myself am a pretty avid basketball. I'm very happy that the games are back and happy to be back on the court. I've also done a bit of work with Melbourne United, Sandy Zebras VFL and a few other sporting clubs as well. So really enjoy that side of physio too. So like I was saying, in the clinic, we're seeing an increase in injuries, in particular basketballing injuries, so a lot of ankles, knees. Part of that's due to the prolonged lockdown and lack of training. So a lot of players have, just by not having training, reduced their training capacity and match readiness. They haven't been doing the specific stuff that's required of them in games. And as a result, those levels through the lockdown weren't maintained. And now they're asking to perform at those match ready levels, and we're seeing an increase in injuries happening as a result. Prime example of this is in the German professional soccer Bundesliga. They had a lockdown themselves and they've just commenced the season and they've seen a tripling in their injury rate. So that's really spiked up. Part of this is due to a capacity versus load mismatch. So how much capacity do our muscles, tissues, ligaments have, and how much load are we putting through them, and are they equaling, or is there a bit of a mismatch? And you can see in the model, the tissue capacity pre-lockdown for a lot of players would have been much higher and has a so-called margin of safety, which, you know, they can get away with doing high demand stuff and not have to worry too much about injuring themselves. But because of the lockdown and the lack of training and lack of conditioning, that tissue capacity has just dropped because of, I guess, rest or lack of intensity. And you can see an injury zone, that yellow triangle, start to form because there is that mismatch between how much demand players are putting through their body and what their tissues can actually deal with. So what actually needs to happen is we need to start to lift that back up again. The main thing is that you want to minimize your injury risk. If nothing's happened, awesome. But the most important thing is load management and prevention strategies. So, you know, having a really good basketball program that addresses all aspects of the game. So your change of direction, your control, your strength stuff, your explosiveness, that kind of stuff. So the whole point is to increase your conditioning, and in turn you should see a decrease in your injury risk. Also having good pre and post game strategies and off day programs. So including a bit of stretching and mobility is also quite important as well. It's also really important to address any niggles or performance doubts while it's still early in the season. Like, we're only just in the second week now, so it's really important to be proactive. The last thing you want is getting halfway through the season and then something pops up and it means, you know, you've got to spend a bit of time on the bench following. So have a good program in place that keeps you conditioned and keeps working on your conditioning. Also, if injured, to make sure you rehab things properly and see things to completion. A lot of people will think, oh, I'm not in pain anymore, so I must be doing pretty well. But quite often there's still work to be done, and it's all about prevention at that point. So make sure you see things to completion. Like I said, I've got a really big basketball focus and I'm pretty excited that it's back. So at the clinic, we're offering a $10 discount for junior rep players, and just to help them through the season and make sure that the right stuff is in place. Thanks for listening.